The story begins with a girl named Esra, a loser and a liar, and in the eyes of her leader, the most untrustworthy magazine reporter. Today she has an assignment to write an article about the upcoming 130th anniversary of the Pera Palace Hotel. Excited, she heads to the hotel, an ancient place with 130 years of history, holding many traces of the founding of Turkey. Esra has a sharp eye for treasures, and she immediately notices the most interesting thing in the hotel. During World War II, Pera, the granddaughter of the hotel's founder, had made her mark in history. In 1919, she unintentionally prevented a foreign assassination attempt on General Mustafa, earning herself the status of a great hero. In 1926, there was a mysterious incident in room 411. A woman had been missing for 11 days, and no one knew where she had gone. All that remained was an old key found in the room. That evening, it was raining heavily, and the kind manager, Halit, allowed Esra to stay in room 411 that night. He showed her the legendary key to 1919. Esra didn't expect it to be real, and Halit refused to give it to her. But near midnight, another key mysteriously appeared in the room. When Esra held it tightly, the entire room shook violently. Suddenly, Esra was transported back to 1919. The hotel was hosting a grand dance that night, and she had the chance to admire the style of General Mustafa, who would later become the first president of Turkey. During the event, a man named Halit approached Esra to chat, asking if she had come to see General Mustafa. Meanwhile, a British officer named George was also trying to get close to him, but he politely refused. At that moment, Halit noticed something strange about George's finger, and because of that, he also traveled through time to 1919. But when he arrived, he mistook another woman for Esra. These two women had the exact same face, and Halit even saw that there were now two keys. Esra's time travel was clearly threatening the future, so Halit locked her in a room. But it didn't take long for Esra to unlock the door, climb out onto the balcony, and escape. When Esra saw George, she mentioned that Mustafa's war for independence would be successful. Hearing that made George furious. As she wandered the streets, Esra overheard George plotting to have Halit carry out an assassination. When George and Halit were discovered, George ran back into the hotel. Halit chased after him, but the moment he reached the entrance, he saw a woman who looked exactly like Esra, so he stopped pursuing. At the same time, Esra also saw the mysterious woman who shared her face. Halit knew what this meant, so he urged them all to return to the present. But something went wrong. The time travel failed. The woman who looked like Esra was dead in the bathroom. Her name was Pera, the heroine mentioned earlier. Because of this, Esra now had to finish what Pera could not. Otherwise, the future of Turkey would collapse. Luckily, Esra was a very good liar, but they still didn't know where Pera's house was. As Esra left the hotel, she ran into Halit, who had been chasing her the previous day. While trying to escape again, she met Officer Risat, a man who secretly had feelings for Pera. Risat brought Esra to Pera's home. It turned out Pera was the daughter of a man named Naim. After losing her husband, she had returned to live with her parents. Pera also had a beautiful daughter named Leyla, who guided Esra to Pera's room. That night, guests arrived. Among them were George and Halit. Esra felt extremely uncomfortable, surrounded by unfamiliar people, and she had to rely on eavesdropping to gather information. But Halit caught her behavior. He even told her that her personality seemed different. Then he warned her that if she dared to reveal what happened the previous night, her life would be in danger. Later that night, Esra shared a symbolic story with Leyla. She revealed that she had grown up in an orphanage, and when she left, she was given a file about her past, but she never had the courage to open it. Even Halit had lost his mother when he was very young. At midnight, Halit carried Pera's lifeless body into room 411 to take her away. Although he didn't know exactly which year she had been transported to, this was how Pera had disappeared. The next day, when Esra woke up, Leyla asked her if she still kept a diary. Esra became excited the moment she heard there was a diary. She searched the entire room and finally found Pera's journal. But many of the entries were written in a way she couldn't understand. So, late at night, she drove the strange old car through every street and alley until she finally returned to the Pera Palace Hotel. Since Esra couldn't understand Turkish, she needed Halit's help. After that, Esra went to the garden bar next door and found Halit. He said he had met her there before. Esra could only pretend she didn't remember anything. She carefully chose her words, making Halit believe that Pera hadn't died that night. That way, he would stop questioning her identity. The diary mentioned a worker from the hotel's construction site and something called the Portal of Truth, which explained the flow of time inside the hotel. But before Halit could finish reading it, he was knocked unconscious by someone, and the diary was stolen by a stranger. At that moment, Halit was interrogating the man he had kidnapped. Meanwhile, Ahmed explained another detail from the diary. Pride had discovered her own body back in 1916, the exact year Ahmed had teleported the body to. She had taken the key from that corpse. That same key was the one Esra had unexpectedly found on the table. In 1916, Pride began her own investigation. Through the worker, she learned the secret behind the hotel's ability to travel through time. At that time, Pride planned to travel into the future to discover who would attempt to assassinate Mustafa. Stopping that assassination would change everything. It also seemed that Pride had the key with her when she was murdered. If the killer managed to obtain it, the consequences would be disastrous. So, Esra used Para's identity and ordered the hotel assistant to investigate the disappearance of the missing diary cable. Ahmed would act as her representative to give orders in her place. When Esra returned home, Naim scolded her for staying out of the hotel every night and refusing to come back. An argument quickly followed. Soon after, Naim kicked Esra out of the house. Before leaving, she found a piece of paper tucked in Parrot's clothes. At that moment, Risset arrived and offered to take her back to the Pera Palace Hotel. He also took the chance to confess his feelings, promising that if she agreed, he would ask Naim to bless them. Esra couldn't help but laugh. This was impossible. She wasn't the woman he loved. Back at the hotel, Esra handed Ahmed the paper with the name of the person who wanted to assassinate General Mustafa. A man named Ferritin had been meeting Pride at the bar next to the garden, but in reality, Ferritin had been captured by Halit. As expected, when Esra arrived at the bar, Halit appeared. She lied about her purpose, claiming she was there to perform as a singer for the karaoke bar. Since her father had kicked her out, she urgently needed the job. Halit wasn't convinced, but Esra stubbornly went on stage. To everyone's surprise, her performance received applause from the audience. Afterwards, Halit decided to take Esra to a safe place. He asked the landlady for a room where she could stay. Meanwhile, the hotel manager helped Ahmed locate a diary in someone's room. When Ahmed returned, he carefully locked the door before continuing to read it. Ferritin had been missing for several days, and they needed to find him quickly. Another person they had to locate was Dimitri, the hotel craftsman. During all of this, Halit watched Esra's every move closely. Once the crowd had dispersed, Esra sneaked into Halit's office. Sure enough, she found Ferritin being held there. Ferritin explained that they also had to find Halit's brother, Osman, who was his partner. But before he could reveal Halit's true identity, a gunshot rang out and Ferritin was killed. Halit had come here to keep his secret hidden forever. At this time, Ahmed had arrived at a house in the suburbs. The room was filled with research related to the hotel's time machine. Even more surprising, there were countless keys scattered throughout the room. And the man behind it all was the craftsman, Dimitri. Esra was caught at this moment, but she continued to lie. She claimed that her sister was involved in a shameful relationship with Ferritin, who had been blackmailing her sister. That was why she was trying every possible way to find him. After hearing this story, Halit wasn't sure whether he believed her. Meanwhile, Ahmed was led by Dimitri to a stone house where deep inside, a dark passage revealed a hidden door. When Ahmed stood in front of it, Dimitri pushed him down. At the same time, Halit brought Esra back and followed her to hotel room for 111. There, Esra found a note left by Ahmed, saying that he was searching for Dimitri. Meanwhile, Ahmed was trapped in a dirty, smelly sewer. Unfortunately, Esra had to perform in a bar at this time. After finishing her performance, Esra met with Halit. From their conversation, she learned that he was a lonely man with a terrible past, almost cut off from his family. Late that night, he took her home. In a moment of staggering, they made eye contact. Esra was very drunk. Halit carried her politely back to her room, but he didn't notice that another woman was present in the room. The next morning, when Esra woke up, she suddenly remembered a place Halit had mentioned the night before. There, she found Halit's brother, Osman. At this time, Halit unexpectedly visited Osman as well, but Osman refused any financial help from his brother, insisting he would rather starve than accept money to support his business. Because Osman believed that the money Halit had was dirty money, he scolded Halit, who then turned and left. But before leaving, Halit quietly gave the money to children on the street. At this time, Osman told Esra that Halit was helping George transport a batch of weapons. The warehouse had been arranged by Parrot's father. If Esra told Osman where the warehouse was, he would share the details of the assassination plan with her. After thinking for a long time, Esra decided to seek Risat's support. Unexpectedly, Risat told Naim that his daughter was showing signs of mental illness and suggested that Naim take her to Switzerland for treatment as soon as possible. Just like that, Esra was temporarily allowed to return to the family mansion. That night, Halit came to Ezra's room, but the woman there said that Esra had already returned home. Early the next morning, Esra faced a crazy scenario. She said that Leyla had been kidnapped all night without anyone knowing. The kidnapper's condition for releasing Leyla was that the ransom be delivered to the warehouse Naim had given to a British friend. Their drama continued to unfold on its own. Naim drove alone to deliver the money, unaware that Esra had hidden in his car. Once Naim placed the money in the warehouse, he quickly left. At the same time, Halit brought people to deliver the weapons. When Halit tested one of the guns, he almost killed Esra. Only after they left did Esra return. Leyla's family was hidden safely at home, with Ezra's roommate, Sonia, taking care of her. However, Leyla stayed there temporarily because Esra had urgent business elsewhere. Ahmed finally escaped the sewer. Meanwhile, Esra went to see General Mustafa. Mustafa was sick, so Esra could only deliver a note warning him that someone planned to assassinate him within the next 3 days. He needed to stay away from the Pera Palace Hotel. At the same time, Pera's daughter was kidnapped by George. George demanded that Esra hold a party at the Pera Palace Hotel in 3 days. At the same time, she had to invite famous Turkish figures to attend, and General Mustafa had to be among them. Otherwise, her daughter's life would be in danger. Ahmed realized they had to do everything possible to convince Dimitri to help them, because only the door of truth could bring them back. Coincidentally, Risat came to find them, and Ahmed seized the opportunity to lie, claiming that the craftsman Dimitri had kidnapped Leyla. Risat agreed to help find him. Through this, Ahmed gained control of all the keys, each representing a new portal. These keys could not fall into the wrong hands. Meanwhile, Esra located the warehouse and planned to use the money to buy half of the weapons. Osman readily agreed. At the same time, Halit was arranging a boxing match at his bar for George, but he left midway. Then Halit met Osman at the warehouse to retrieve the weapons, and Esli snatched the gun from Osman's hand. Did Halit endanger Osman's life? Meanwhile, Esra had been waiting anxiously, but she had no news and grew very worried about Leyla. The next day, Esra and Ahmed went to the warehouse, only to find it empty. Halit immediately reported to George that all the weapons were gone, suspecting a spy among them. Esra went straight to the point and confronted George. She wanted to exchange the weapons for her daughter's life. But George warned that the only way to save Leyla was to bring General Mustafa to the hotel the following night. Esra was completely devastated. As she glanced up, her eyes landed on an advertisement for cough medicine. So Esra had a plan. She explained that Leyla had to take medicine every day and hoped that Halit could deliver it to her, because only Halit could help her. That night, Esra followed Halit to a secret location. To her surprise, the entire batch of weapons that Halit had reported to George as missing was there. It turned out Halit was actually a spy. From that moment, Halit and Esra were on the same side. On the surface, Halit acted loyal to George, but in reality, he was helping Mustafa. As long as Halit remained undetected by George, he would be safe. Meanwhile, Osman and Faradin only cared about their own survival, hoping to profit from the weapons. At that time, Faradin tried to betray Halit, forcing him to shoot and kill Osman. Esra expressed how much she wanted to see Leyla, but Halit didn't know where she was being held. Esra realized she would have to deal with this problem the next night, because Mustafa would also attend the party. George ordered Halit to start the plan at exactly 7 p.m. Meanwhile, Ahmed threatened Dimitri to reveal the hotel's secret, since all the keys were in his possession. With no choice, Dimitri led Ahmed to a cemetery. It turned out that Dimitri's teacher had been the first person to discover the hotel's secret. He had stepped through the portal of truth to save his ill-fated wife, but upon returning, he strangled her with his own hands. Not only that, he killed everyone else who knew the hotel's secret. The keys had been made by Dimitri's teacher from the metal in the graves dug when the hotel was built. Dimitri wondered why Ahmed, who knew the secret since childhood, was still alive. It turned out Ahmed had known the hotel's secret for years, but had sworn never to open the portal again, 30 years ago. Meanwhile, Halit sneaked into the enemy camp and rescued Leyla, but as soon as he took her out, they were discovered. Halit drew his gun and fired. He arrived just in time for the hotel dance party, and Leyla was finally safe. Suddenly, Ahmed's arms began to show signs of necrosis. When Esra led Leyla into the banquet room, George was shocked. At that moment, Esra gave a speech in front of everyone, announcing that Mustafa would be appointed commander of the main army. As George stormed out in anger, Halit collapsed. He was immediately rushed to the hospital for treatment. Risat also arrived to take Esra away safely. Risat was shocked to hear about George's evil deeds through Esra's story. However, he still had doubts. How could she know everything while his superiors had no information? At the same time, George began to suspect Halit of being a double agent. Meanwhile, Ahmed's hand was showing signs of rotting. There had to be some new threat endangering his life. Esra revealed that Halit had been shot. There must be a connection between Halit and Ahmed. To save Ahmed, Esra had to travel to 1928 to obtain antibiotics because penicillin had not yet been discovered. This way, both Halit and Ahmed would be safe. Dmitri warned that time travel to change the course of events could cause even greater disasters. But his words did not stop Esra's determination. The portal in room 311 would open at 1 a.m., and Esra had to return on time. At midnight, room 311 activated the transfer, but an accident sent Esra to 1917 instead. She had just left the hotel in a hurry when she accidentally encountered Halit, who was being hunted. Esra saved him, and that was why Halit fell in love with her at first sight. The two unexpectedly collided. When Esra woke up, she learned that Halit was looking for a doctor for her. She also saw her old roommate, Sonia, on the street shopping at an heirloom store. Esra then ran into trouble with two thugs trying to find Halit. At the crucial moment, Halit appeared and took them down. He thought Esra was the strangest woman he had ever met. Even in danger, she didn't betray him. Was her courage worth it for a stranger? Esra reminded Halit to be careful, warning that fate could change. Halit, determined not to become like his father, always tried to rewrite his destiny and show that the poor could succeed. After sharing a full meal, Halit took Esra to the bar, a place that would one day belong to him. There, the two couldn't help but kiss on the dance floor. Esra had to leave around midnight. Just like that, she disappeared that night. Ahmed and Dmitri feared that Esra might never return. They had only just mentioned her name when she suddenly reappeared. But Ahmed's condition was worsening. Esra decided she had to try again. Although Dmitri tried to stop her, Esra ignored his warnings. She took the key to room 518 and traveled to 1942. There, she went to a pharmacy to buy antibiotics, pretending it was to treat someone who had been shot. However, the pharmacy owner called the authorities, and the police came and arrested her. She was imprisoned as a rebel, along with several others. Fortunately, the resistance army soon stormed in to rescue the Olais. Esra took the opportunity to escape, breaking open the pharmacy and stealing many antibiotics. She then used her climbing skills to sneak back into the hotel. At this time, George had taken control of the entire city. As Esra found the room and prepared to return, she encountered a couple. One of them was Leyla, now grown into a young woman. She was curious about her mother, who hadn't aged at all. But in the chaos, they could only meet briefly before being separated. When George's army stormed the room, everyone disappeared. Esra returned to 1919, but Ahmed and Dmitri were missing. When she found Dmitri, he explained that Ahmed had asked him to take him to the hospital. Ahmed wanted to say goodbye to his father before dying. It turned out that Ahmed's father was Khalid. This complicated matters even further. Ahmed also revealed that Khalid was his father, and Sonia was his mother, though she had not been pregnant at that time. Khalid had been shot, which endangered Ahmed's existence. Esra could only give Sonia the medicine and instruct her not to reveal that Esra had delivered it. Surprisingly, Dmitri told them that it was Khalid who had killed Paride. What exactly happened on that rainy night in 1919? Paride had begged Dmitri to tell her which room contained the door of truth. Her goal was to travel to the future, find the assassin who targeted Mustafa, and stop him. Finally, Dmitri revealed that the gate was in room 411. After that, Khalid followed Paride closely. Outside the hotel, Dmitri saw Khalid climbing out of the balcony of room 411. But Esra still could not believe that Khalid had done it. Dmitri then speculated that maybe Khalid had known all along that Esra was not Paride. This meant that everything Khalid had said could have been a lie. Khalid was discharged from the hospital a few days later. Sonia stayed by his side constantly and even told him that Esra had never visited. Outside the hotel, Esra watched helplessly as Sonia kissed Khalid. It was Esra's sacrifice to help Ahmed, and thanks to her, his arm was almost restored. Once Khalid recovered, he returned to George. George immediately tasked him with completing a mission he had previously left unfinished. Khalid agreed. Esra then invited Khalid to a meeting to uncover the truth about whether he had killed Paride. Khalid arrived as promised. He was upset that Esra had not come to visit him in the hospital. At the same time, he admitted that he had long known that she was not Paride. Khalid also insisted that he was not the murderer George suspected. That night, Khalid had followed Paride to room 411 to warn her, but he only heard a scream from inside. He climbed from the balcony of the next room to room 411, only to discover that Paride had already died. Khalid was not the murderer. When Khalid returned to the room, Dmitri called to him from below, leading Dmitri to mistakenly believe that Khalid had killed Paride. Khalid picked up a ring at the scene and promised to bring it to Esra the next day. He was also curious about the woman who had saved him 2 years ago, and then suddenly disappeared. Khalid finally realized that woman was Esra. He wanted to know who she really was, so he had come to the hotel every day for 2 years just to see her. That day, he finally met the woman he had been dreaming of, but he mistook Paride for Esra, because the two acted completely differently. Khalid thought Esra was Peride's twin sister. Khalid even knew that Paride was not Name's biological child. The year the hotel was completed, a baby had been abandoned in a room, and the baby's origin remained a complete mystery. That baby was Paride. Esra was very confused upon hearing this. Khalid was not the murderer. Everything returned to where it started. The actual murderer had dropped a ring, which Esra took and showed to Ahmed. Unexpectedly, it was his mother's ring. It turned out that Sonia was the daughter of a noble from a certain country, but now she had to serve tea and water in the hotel. George used the new weapon in the warehouse first and deliberately revealed the news to Khalid. He no longer trusted Khalid as before. Meanwhile, Esra took the ring to check, and Sonia reacted immediately. It was obvious that the ring was her family heirloom. When Sonia first came to the city, she had pawned it for money, always hoping to redeem it one day. But when Esra and Ahmed went to the pawn shop, they discovered that the ring had never left its place. This was strange because Sonia had clearly said it was the only one, yet there were two very similar rings. Everything seemed to come to a dead end again. Khalid still wanted to be with Esra, believing it was his destiny. But Esra knew that Sonia loved Khalid deeply, so she had to tell him that she did not love him. Right now, there were more important matters than love. After saying this, she turned and went to a corner alone. Meanwhile, George sought to cooperate with Sonia, claiming he could restore her former aristocratic life and give her everything she once had. This gave Sonia the money to redeem the ring, and fortunately, it was still there. At the same time, Khalid sank into despair and could not free himself from his emotions. Esra felt the same. That night, Khalid went to the warehouse, but was caught by Raisa. Dmitri clung to Ahmed constantly, suspecting that Ahmed had stolen the key and the ring. Ahmed was completely confused. Dmitri, also confused, recounted that last month he had come to see Sonia. She was heavily pregnant and wore the ring around her neck. At this time, a drunken Sonia had strangled Esra. It turned out that Sonia was pregnant with Khalid's child. But Khalid never loved Sonia, had gone out searching for Esra. During this, Sonia accidentally obtained the key and found the door of truth. She traveled back in time to the night of the bull, April 1919, just as Esra had traveled. Dmitri accidentally saw that Sonia was pregnant. Sonia hid in room 411 while waiting for Paride to appear, intending to kill her unexpectedly. Then Sonia used the key to return to the present. Now Sonia planned to kill Esra, but Ahmed stopped her just in time. Meanwhile, Khalid was explaining everything related to George. The purpose was to rescue Esra, because she was doing everything to stop George's plot. At the same time, Sonia confessed that George had arranged for her to be followed along the hotel route. It was George who had hurt Ahmed to get the diary. Sonia had also helped George kidnap Peride's daughter. Esra did not expect that she had been doing everything to prevent Mustafa's assassination, but Sonia wanted to take the opportunity to exact revenge on her. Razat was also working for George. He appeared and immediately went to see Esra. Esra discovered that Khalid had been arrested and wanted to stand up to protect him, but Razat did not care. He told Esra to go to Switzerland quickly because George's men would soon arrest her. Esra pretended to agree. Before leaving, she had to meet Khalid. She was secretly looking for a way to free him, though Khalid only hoped she would find Mustafa's assassin. When Esra returned, she gave Ahmed her phone, which was about to run out of battery. That day, she invited George to afternoon tea. Unexpectedly, Esra mocked him as a dictator and exposed his low self-esteem. George could not escape his childhood trauma, and he reacted destructively. While Ahmed took pictures, his phone battery was running low, but fortunately, George noticed nothing unusual. Alma then retrieved the key Sonia had stolen by threatening her. Meanwhile, Esra tried her best to convince Razat not to sacrifice his life for George, because she believed he was a good man. Unfortunately, it was too late. Razat revealed there was a bomb with terrible destructive power on his ship, set to explode at 5 o'clock. Esra begged him to let Khalid go, and he agreed. They chased after the ship, racing against time. Thanks to Razat's information, Khalid found the bomb and threw it into the sea, saving Mustafa, who was aboard. After Esra gave Peret's handkerchief to Mustafa, it was time for her to leave. She could not stay because she did not belong there. Esra and Khalid shared a passionate kiss and said goodbye. Before leaving, she also bid farewell to Leyla. Meanwhile, George, drunk in the hotel room, tried to find Esra to kill her. But when Esra and Ahmed returned to room 411, they had already disappeared. Shortly after, George was surrounded by Mustafa's men. So, did Esra and Ahmed really return? And why was there a baby on the bed behind them? After looking at the newspaper, Ahmed realized they were in 1995. He remembered that on this day, he had found a baby in the hotel when he had just become manager. He handed the baby over to the police, who named her Esra. That was why Esra was said to be an orphan since birth. On the baby's back, there was a photo and a key with a line that read, "Lost mother and found the gate of truth. Use this key to open." End of part 1. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this recap, make sure to subscribe to Cine Voice, hit the bell icon to stay updated, and join the journey.